talking about box office success, Harry Potter, like nobody's seen before. Why do you think that this story has become one of the greatest stories and series of all time?
Well, I suppose it makes us all remember what we're kids going through things, and we all have. I mean, I'm a great believer in magic, you see. I'm a great believer in magic. I'm a great believer in the magic that, you know, when we're all a bit depressed or dull, when it's a grey afternoon and you're leaning on a corner of something and someone's blowing smoke in your face and you need to go to the toilet, you know, and it's like, oh my God, isn't life shit? Sometimes you go, no, it's magic. So anything that's simple, and this is a story, again, it's classic, goes back to the classics. It's a bunch of kids growing up, relating to each other, and it's a simple story between good and evil. The Bible has that. Most religion has this question about what is good, what isn't, you know, and then there's innocence within that, and they learn and they journey towards what they believe is the truth and salvation. So all those old-fashioned principles that people, you know, ask themselves questions, the human condition. Also, it's bloody well made, and people just like it, and it's colourful, and you can eat a box of cornflakes, a box of what they call them, popcorn, and watch it and have nothing and just enjoy it. Entertainment, there is nothing wrong with good old-fashioned entertainment. Entertainment, you know, after a long day, as I say, someone blows smoke in your face, you're constipated, you might just want to be, you might just want to be entertained. And I think it is entertaining and magical.
Have you ever met J.K. Rowling, and if so, what is your impression after meeting?
Well, I didn't meet her. I've done 4 films, and I met her on a stairway as we were being led up to the London premiere of the last film, and she spoke to me, and I spoke to her, and I thought, you are really great. And she was like completely, she's one of the richest novelists in the world. You know, she's come through, you know, when she started writing that book, she was just on her last uppers, wasn't she? And she's tremendous. She's just tremendous, and very open to talking to kids, very unspoilt by it, untilted by the fact that she's now a world icon. I mean, but absolutely charming person, and, you know, really, really nice. It's sort of like a person you'd meet in a restaurant one day and you go, oh, I really like you, or I might meet you again. You know, she's like that, but she just happens to be J.K. Rowling.
Moving on to The King's Speech, which many critics now think is going to go on to win Best Picture and a bunch of different categories. At the Academy, I hope I'm not jinxing Tim.
Nothing. Yeah.
Please tell us how you actually prepared for the role of Winston Churchill.
Well, given that really when it comes down to it, I'm not going to try and make it look like I'm a major character in this. Winston Churchill is more like an extended cameo in this. This really basically is a film about George VI and his relationship with his speech therapist, who helped him get over this terrible affliction, so he could work as a moral, you know, as a figurehead to help Britain remain buoyant with Winston Churchill's help and blah blah blah. When we had been kicked out of France by the Nazi army, left all our tanks there, and had 27 Spitfires that stopped they're called the Battle of Britain, that stopped the Germans from invading England, and then change the course of the war. Now, so that is what that relationship is about. Mainly it's about Lionel Logue, Colin's character, George VI, and Helena's character, the Queen, who obviously Elizabeth Bowes-Lyon, who becomes the Queen Mother. But what is interesting about playing someone like Churchill is you've only got to turn up for a second, and people are interested. Some people actually, I've got some pretty nasty reviews actually. I mean, a couple of people said they thought I was shit. But Helena Bonham Carter, who knows Winston Churchill's granddaughters, said they came up to her and said Tim Spall got him bang on. So I'd rather listen to that than some tosspot from the Sunday Times.
And briefly, how did you prepare getting Winston Churchill?
Oh, sorry, that was your original question. I got a box set of all of Winston Churchill's key speeches from 1938 to 1950. And it's one of the most touching things I've ever had to research. It's from the beginning of where Britain was in peril, where we were really up against it, right up to where America came in and joined in the Second World War and saved our bacon, basically. Otherwise, I'd be speaking with a German accent. But the whole thing, there's a moment where he says, you know, he says that never in the field of human conflict there's so much, you know, by so many, by so few. And that was 18-year-old, 17-year-old, 19-year-old pilots, kids straight out of university, getting in Spitfires and going up and stopping the Luftwaffe, who were bombing London into oblivion, and it actually stopped the invasion of Britain, you know. And now, when you listen to these speeches, and also don't forget Winston Churchill was a brilliant politician. You listen to this oratory, you listen to these amazing, almost narrative stories of him painting pictures of the Dougherty Brit, us living, as it were, on the brink of disaster and not being allowed. We will fight them on the beaches, in the streets. We will never surrender. And at one point he says, and if it so be, we will do it alone. And that, you know, and you listen to that, and you think, all right, it's Britain, it's 20 million people, it's now a big, and there we were, sitting in the corner of the world, and there's this bloke, bald, looks like a baby, smokes a cigar, and has a bottle of champagne in bed every morning. He was our Prime Minister. So you have to look at that, you then listen to this genius narrative, you then watch every single piece of extant material going, showing him, and then you try and start to feel like what he felt like inside. And that's the point when, as an actor, you feel like you've connected, when you feel that maybe all of a sudden, and it goes beyond acting, it goes beyond showing off performance, you just feel like somewhere, I know, I understand him.